Hey there, today we are going to the cheapest grocery store in my area, which is Walmart, and I'm going to be buying as many groceries as possible with only $20. I know $20 just doesn't stretch at the grocery stores like it used to, but my goal for this week is to make as many delicious, high protein and high in different nutrient meals for my family. I want these meals to be absolutely delicious, just made on an extreme grocery budget for this week. Let's get to the store now. I'm bringing you along with me. Unfortunately, in recent years, meat has skyrocketed, so I'm starting in the meat department first. $1.09 per pound for chicken is a really good deal these days, so I'm going to grab this big 5-pound bag of chicken drumsticks. That is a lot of chicken for under $6 total. Next, I'm going to pick up a can of pasta sauce. When buying any groceries, always look at the price per ounce. It's normally in smaller numbers next to the normal price, and that will really tell you if you're getting the best deal. The price per ounce hack really came in handy. You know, when I'm buying my pasta today, I was originally planning on buying bow tie pasta, but the bow tie pasta is 8.2 cents per ounce. The shells are only 6.1 cents per ounce, so a way better value with the shells, so I'm just going to go with the shells for today. When buying diced tomatoes, there are so many different cans you could choose from. There's normal cans, cans with low sodium, cans with oil and garlic, there's like chili starter, fire roasted, and like so many more. For today, I'm just going with a can of diced tomatoes with green peppers, celery, and onion. The pepper, celery, and onion will give the diced tomatoes so much added flavor for like the same price, so it's a good deal. As what my grandpa used to say, he always used to say you could never go wrong with a bag of pinto beans, which is true. You know, the possibilities are endless with pinto beans, so I'm grabbing a pound of pinto beans. Also, whoever organized the bean and rice shelves at my store just did a beautiful job. I was standing back there admiring the wall for just a little while. It's beautiful. They did a wonderful job. Anyway, I'm also grabbing a 1-pound bag of brown rice. The brown rice is a little bit cheaper than like the normal white rice for today, so going with the brown rice. Also, I was going to pick up this 1-pound bag of dry lentils. If you know me, I love lentils, but I was worried that might put me over my budget for this week. I thought to myself I should look at the Hispanic foods area, just, you know, it's a few steps away, and just to see if there's any lentils over there. I really feel like I scored because I found the same amount of lentils in this bag just for cheaper. It's about 14 cents cheaper, the same amount of lentils in the bag, so that is a good deal. I'm really glad that I looked down the aisle and, you know, found that bag. Next, I'm picking up this bag of frozen mixed vegetables. There's a ton of veggies in this bag. Also, I'm on the tail end of being under the weather, so don't mind, you know, if my voice sounds slightly different. I kind of lost my voice. Anyway, I'm picking up a yellow onion. Yellow onions tend to be the least expensive onion at my grocery stores, and, you know, most grocery stores. Anyway, I'll also pick up 2 jalapenos. Jalapenos are packed full of nutrients and just kind of like small, flavorsome, and like I said, nutrient rich. I'm also picking up a cabbage. Cabbages are fairly affordable. Also a bag of carrots. Carrots tend to be on sale at this time of year, which I love. Here's a rundown of everything that I'm picking up for today. First, I have my yellow onion, my bag of lentils, chicken drumsticks, along with my bag of brown rice and pinto beans. I also have my bag of frozen mixed vegetables and my can of diced tomatoes. I also have my carrots along with the pasta sauce. I picked up a bag of flour tortillas, 2 jalapenos, shell pasta, and my cabbage. Let's get home. Let's get to cooking this week. The first dinner that I'm making for this week is this chicken, vegetable, and rice 1-pot dish. This absolutely sounds delicious. I'm just going to start out by cutting open the bag of chicken drumsticks. I'm going to divide it into like 3 different dinner portions. So for tonight, I'm using 4 chicken drumsticks, and then I'm going to put the other portions in bags for future nights' dinners. One bag has only 3 chicken drumsticks, and the other bag has 4 chicken drumsticks. So that's quite a lot of chicken drumsticks in that bag. Now I'm going going to get started on my onion. I'm just using a very small portion of my onion for this recipe. Now to this pot on the stove, I'm adding in a tablespoon of olive oil. Once your oil's hot, add in your onion. Just let the onion cook for a couple of minutes. Then you're going to add in your 4 chicken drumsticks. Let the chicken drumsticks sear on each side for about 4 minutes. This will give the chicken so much added flavor in the end. The whole dish is just going to be like a little bit brighter, searing your chicken like that. But if you don't have time, don't worry, you don't have to sear your chicken. Now I'm adding in 1 of my cloves of garlic that I grabbed from the store. I'm also adding in 1 cup of my brown rice. Also add in 1 cup of the frozen mixed vegetables from the store. And then you're going to add in your 2.5 cups of water. While this is simmering, if you do notice that it does need more water, just add in about 1/2 cup more water at a time until the rice is tender. But for the seasonings, I'm using a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of Italian seasoning, teaspoon of paprika, and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Give this a stir and let this simmer covered for about 45 minutes or until that rice is tender. Here's what it looks like now that it's through simmering. That brown rice is so fluffy and delicious. Brown rice is generally considered a little bit healthier than white rice just because it is a whole grain that contains more fiber, vitamins, and minerals. So that brown rice is super good for you. That chicken is so tender and juicy. The veggies are delicious. Here's what we have left after we finished our dinner for tonight. Now we're making this lentil cabbage stir fry, and this one is for all my meatless meal friends. This is a meatless meal, but it is packed full of protein. I'm just starting by cutting up 1/2 of a green cabbage, my carrot, and I just used a small amount of my onion. Add about a tablespoon of oil to your pot on the stove. I used olive oil. Then add in your onion and your carrot. Just cook it for about 5 minutes, and then add in a tablespoon of minced garlic. I just used about 1 to 2 cloves of garlic, just that we got from the store. Give this a stir, and then you're going to add in your cabbage. After you're finished adding in your cabbage, add in 1 cup of dry lentils, and then add in your water. You're going to add 3.5 cups of water along with about 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I used low sodium soy sauce. Give this a stir and let it simmer covered for about 30 minutes or until the lentils are tender. I know this doesn't look like much, but if you are a cabbage fan, you will absolutely love this. This one dinner made for so many different meals out of it. We got so many different meals or servings, however you like to call it, out of this one dinner. It's delicious. The lentils are so yummy as well. Whenever I make dry pinto beans or really any type of dry bean, I like to batch cook them first. Just that way, you're cooking them all together. They do take a little while to cook. That way you're batch cooking them. You could have them in your fridge, or you could even freeze the beans that you don't use, within a few days. So I just added all of my beans, just my 1-pound bag, into the strainer, and now I'm rinsing through them, and I'm going to look through them, just rinse them just to remove any debris, rocks, or, anything that might be on the beans, like dirt, for example. These beans tend to be very clean, though. I don't really ever find anything on them or in the bag. Anyway, I added them into my Instant Pot. I am cooking these beans in my Instant Pot, or you could cook them on the stove if you prefer that. Also add in 7 cups of water, about a teaspoon of salt, 2 bay leaves to add, more flavor. Add in your 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and then add in a teaspoon of onion powder, paprika, oregano, and chili powder. I found that this is my favorite seasoning combination for pinto beans. I found that it's just a delicious seasoning combination. Give it a stir and just press the bean button. Then I did let this do a natural release for about 25, to 30 minutes. And then here's what the pinto beans are looking like. Just remove the 2 bay leaves just because you don't want to accidentally eat a bay leaf. And there you go. There's your pinto beans. If you don't think you're going to eat all of these beans, within about 5 days, I do like to freeze them, and they will last in your freezer up to 6 months. I've froze them like in a bag in the past or a container, so they freeze really well. So I recommend that if you don't think you're going to eat through them. Now we're making this delicious pasta dish. So to this pot on the stove, I added in my 1 pound of shell pasta. Quite honestly, you guys, I just dumped the whole box in there, not even thinking. I'm only going to use 1/2 pound of pasta for this recipe, but let's just say I'm batch cooking it. So I'm cooking all the pasta right now, but I'll only use 1/2 of it for this recipe. To this pot on my stove, I just added in about a clove of my garlic. Also add in your can of pasta sauce. After you're through adding in your pasta sauce, you're just going to give this a stir and let it simmer for a couple of minutes on your stove. After that, you're going to add in 1 cup of cooked pinto beans. The pinto beans will add so much protein and different nutrients in this dish. They're a great substitute for like ground beef or sausage, for a pasta. I'm also adding in a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, salt, and pepper. Just give this a stir and let it simmer covered for about 5 minutes, just so all the flavors can combine together. But now that my pasta is through cooking, I'm just going to strain it. And then what I am going to do, just because I'm only using half a pound of pasta for this recipe, I'll just remove the other half a pound of pasta, put it in a container, and I'm just going to keep it in my fridge for a future recipe. Now I'm going to add this half a pound of pasta just right into the sauce, and I'm going to give it a stir, let it cook together for a couple of minutes, and there you go. You could serve up this easy high-protein dinner. Pinto beans or any type of beans is a great way to bulk up any pasta dish and add delicious protein. This is a good one. My little ones actually love whenever I make pasta dishes like this. They enjoy the pinto beans in it. Also, I do need to let you know, this is my brand new cookbook. It is called Make It Simple. This is my second cookbook. It is on sale currently for the holidays. So this is the lowest price it will be. Plus, I am offering free shipping, and I am signing every single book at the moment. The cookbooks barely just got to my house here in Utah. The shipping was delayed from the printer by a little bit, so I just got all the cookbooks. I've been signing them all week. So if you've ordered a book, it will get to your house shortly. I can't wait for you guys to see it. There's over 150 recipes in this book. They're easy, realistic, either like dump and go or few ingredient recipes. They're affordable, delicious recipes. Every single recipe has a high quality image or multiple images. These chicken lentil burritos are a total game changer. They're delicious and high in protein. I'm just starting out by cutting up a small amount of my onion and 1 jalapeno to a pan on the stove. Add in your olive oil. I just used about a tablespoon of that. Then add in your onion and your jalapeno. Let this cook on a lower heat for about 5 minutes. After the cooking time is up, you're going to add in 1 of your cloves of garlic. Just stir that garlic around until it is fragrant. And then you're going to add in your 3 chicken drumsticks. This is just like the bag of chicken drumsticks, that I put 3 in at the beginning of the week. Just let your chicken drumsticks sear on both sides, just so it gets that like golden crust. And then I am measuring out about a half a cup of lentils. I am going to rinse my lentils just to clean them. I do have quite a bit of lentils left, but I'll only use about a half a cup for this recipe. A little bit of lentils does go a long way. Now back over to my pan. I'm just going to flip my chicken over just so the sear gets on both sides. Now add your lentils in along with about a cup and a half of water. For the seasonings, you could really use any seasonings that you'd like or have on hand. I'm using about 3 teaspoons of taco seasoning. I found that this is great for like chicken lentil burritos like this. I'm also adding in a dash of salt and pepper and a half a teaspoon of oregano. Then add in your 1 cup of cooked pinto beans. Just give this a stir. I do still have plenty of pinto beans left, from batch cooking them earlier in this week. You're going to let this simmer covered for about 45 minutes or until those lentils are tender and the chicken is like falling apart tender. At that point, just remove the chicken to a plate or a bowl, and then you're going to shred up the chicken. Just shred it into smaller pieces and then add the chicken back into the lentils. Cooking the chicken like that kind of creates like a broth, letting it simmer with the bone in the pot, and it just creates like the most delicious flavor. Here is the filling for your burritos. Now you're going to pull out your tortillas. I'm using about 5 tortillas tonight for dinner. My husband's probably going to have 2 burritos and the rest of us will just have 1. Fill up your tortillas and then roll them up. After I'm finished filling up my tortillas, I noticed that I do have quite a bit of like the pinto bean lentil chicken mixture left. So if anybody wants like a burrito bowl in the end, they certainly can. We have plenty of food left over. But I'm just going to crisp up the outside of the tortillas just in a little bit of oil on the stove. Tortillas tend to be boring and bland, especially like bought from the store just because, they're not the freshest, let's be honest. So crisping them up just on the outside like this adds an element of flavor that is just out of this world. So if you're making very affordable burritos like this, I definitely recommend crisping up the outside of the tortilla. It makes the tortilla 100 times better in my opinion. It really makes it taste like you're getting it from like a fancy restaurant, but in all reality, this is a very affordable burrito. The chicken is so juicy and delicious, so filling. We absolutely love this dinner. This one's a good one. Now we're getting started on this vegetable rice soup. This one is very simple. It's like a dump and go recipe. These are my carrots. I'm just using 3 of them. This is how many that are left, for different recipes. I'm also going to be using the other half of my cabbage. Just cut your vegetables up into smaller pieces. Over to a pot on the stove, I'm adding in 1 cup of my pinto beans. I have a lot of pinto beans left still. I'm adding in 1 cup of frozen mixed vegetables as well, and then the carrots and the cabbage, along with 8 cups of water, or you could use broth if you have broth on hand. I didn't buy any broth from the store or like bouillon cubes, so I'm not using broth, I'm just using water. Then I'm adding in 1 clove of garlic along with a 1.5 teaspoons of oregano. Then you're going to add in 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and then you're going to give this a little stir. Go ahead and add in about 1/3 cup of brown rice at this point. Give this a stir and let this simmer for about 30 minutes or until that rice is tender. This soup is shockingly delicious. It is so good. The cabbage mixed with like the rice and the different vegetables really work well together. This is such a hearty soup from the beans having protein. The rice is very filling. That cabbage is filling as well. It has so many different veggies in it, making this extremely nutrient rich. And this is just a good soup. And if you have leftovers, you can have plenty for lunch the next day or for dinner. Now we're getting started on these chicken drumsticks with a bright pasta, so grab a sheet pan, spray it with nonstick spray. I added parchment paper to mine just for easy cleanup in the end. Add your 4 chicken drumsticks down. These are the chicken drumsticks that I have left. Go ahead and spread them out and season them with a dash of salt, pepper, paprika, and onion powder. This is a great seasoning blend for chicken drumsticks. Make sure you season them on both sides. Then cover this lightly with foil just so they don't burn, in the oven. And then this will bake in a preheated oven to 400 degrees for about 50 minutes. And then while this is in the oven baking away, I am going to get started on the pasta dish. This is a very delicious pasta dish. So grab a pan and you're going to add about 1 tablespoon of olive oil to your pan, and then add the remaining frozen veggies just in your bag. Go ahead and give this a stir, let it cook for a couple of minutes. Once it's through cooking, add in some garlic. Just add the garlic in and give it a stir. Now you're going to add in your diced tomatoes with the green peppers, celery, and onions. Give this a stir, and then you're going to add in your pasta. This is the pasta that, I kind of added too much pasta in with like the pasta, the other pasta dish. So this is the other 1/2 pound of my pasta shells that I've had in my fridge. Go ahead and add a dash of salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning. Give this a stir and let it simmer on your stove for a few minutes. And there you go. This is a very easy pasta dish. This makes for a delicious side dish. It's like very fresh tasting. It's almost light tasting. And here's the chicken once it is out of the oven. And here is what dinner looks like plated up. This dinner was 10 out of 10. That pasta was a total winner. The chicken was fall apart tender. Absolutely phenomenal. My whole family absolutely loved this extreme budget dinner. For tonight's dinner, my plan is to kind of use anything and everything that I have left. So to get started, I'm just going to dice up the remaining onion, the second jalapeno, and the last of my carrots. Just cut them into smaller pieces. Now for my rice, I do want to see how much rice I do have left. So I'm measuring it, and it's a little over 1 cup of brown rice left. And then I do want to do the same for my lentils to kind of see where we're at with the lentils. So I'm going to measure them out. And it kind of looks like I have a little under a cup of lentils left. So that is good to know. That is where we are at towards the end of this week. Now over to a large pan on the stove, add in about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. We're going to saute our veggies so they could have a delicious added flavor to them. Now add in those lentils along with the rice. Add in your remaining pinto beans. We have so many pinto beans left, which I am so excited about. This dinner is delicious. It's also going to be a big dinner. Next, add in about 8 to 9 cups of water along with some salt, pepper, about 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of oregano, onion powder, and paprika. Give this a stir and let this simmer on your stove for about 1 hour. Do keep in mind that this is a lot of food, so the rice and the lentils do need to simmer for a while. Make sure it is on a lower heat so nothing burns. Here's what it will look like towards, the hour mark. I can't believe how much food we have left, towards the end of the week. I also have some tortillas left that I do not want to go to waste, so I'm making these into kind of like rice, lentil burritos. Sounds delicious. Fill up your tortillas, and I am going to crisp up these tortillas just in a pan on the stove, similar to what I did with the chicken lentil burritos, just because these tortillas, like I said before, they can be bland at times, so crisping them up on the stove will give them such added flavor. It will really make these burritos taste so delicious. The filling itself is delicious, but that tortilla could use some flavor. Here is how much filling we have left. This is basically like a stew, so you could eat that as a stew. That is actually what we did for lunch the next day. We had that as just a stew, and it was absolutely delicious. But here is what the inside of the burritos look like. These burritos were absolutely delicious. Also, the burrito filling, which I'm going to call stew, we actually had that stew for lunch the next day, and then another day later we had it for dinner as well, just because it made for so much food. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next video like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.